Hello, 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 everybody. This is Irina Strunina, and this is our weekly podcast, Diabetically Speaking with Smart Move 360. This is where we meet every week on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time and speak, talk about life with diabetes, how we can avoid it, or what we should do if we already stepped into this zone, and how we can help others to 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 work with their challenges, whatever those challenges are, maybe psychological challenges or maybe physical challenges or just maybe learn how to cook. All this we are trying to cover in our conversations. And today I have a very interesting guest. I usually invite healthcare professionals to join me here, and with Rich, we really had a very brief introduction. He joined our Facebook group. He said something that I liked to hear, and I reached out and said, "Look, let's connect. Let's do the recording, and you talk about what you have." Because I believe everybody is looking for the tool, and maybe the offer that Rich has is what you are looking for. So, welcome to the show, Rich. Please introduce yourself. Tell us about why you are working with people with diabetes. What is your interest? And we'll go from there. You have a couple minutes to talk about it.
Yeah, hi, Irina. Glad to be here and really appreciate the invitation and to talk about this. And like I said, my name's Rich. I actually have had fibromyalgia and something called SIBO for several years since I was 23, and I'm 57 now. And I've kind of fought that battle and still fighting it. But I've come to realize the benefits of nutrition and health in many different health related fields, not just diabetes, but overall, and the value of nutrition. And so that's kind of, and I'm not really sure what steered me towards diabetes specifically, other than, weight management is key for so many people, and including, diabetes. And so I developed something to help with that. And I see so many people around me with that problem, and that's kind of what led me down the path I'm on now, is just trying to help people manage their insulin levels and, glucose insulin levels in regards to the foods. And I think so many people maybe don't realize kind of what the foods they're doing once they eat it and how it's reacting inside their self, and how it may be promoting fat burning or not fat burning or sugar burning or not sugar burning. So there's so many factors and dynamics that I had an interest in. And my family's big in the healthcare. I have several pharmacy friends and doctor friends, and I've always had an interest in it. I'm a big runner, a big exercise person, so I'm always kind of trying to stay in touch with that and just make myself better. Even though I have my tough days too with the fibromyalgia, but I've come to find out how valuable nutrition is, and along with exercise. And so that's kind of what got me to the point I'm at right now.
All right. Well, thank you. And it's very interesting to know how people come to this point when they start caring for themselves, start caring for somebody else who is dear to their heart, and then suddenly they realize that this is something that may help more people just than just me or than just my spouse or my uncle, but to have this available for more people, it's a great great service to the public, especially with this pandemic that we have right now with diabetes. The I spoke with so many healthcare professionals, the doctors and nurses, and they tell me the stories that 50 years ago would be unbelievable to learn that young kids with the middle schoolers may get diagnosed with the high cholesterol levels, may get diagnosed with high blood pressure and high blood sugar, but not insulin dependent. So this is something that unfortunately all the convenience that our society provides us with, we also are facing this challenge. To stay busy is a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what you said there, the convenience is the big thing, and it's sort of convenient short term, but maybe not long term because we spend more time in the doctor's office. You know,
Yes,
it's we have to have things a little bit hard here and there to have a resistance to make our body stronger dealing with whatever it is, and that's nutrition, fitness. It's kind of all the same, and we don't always want to have things so easy because it doesn't usually lead to the outcome we want, at least in many cases. So I agree with what you're saying.
absolutely. Well, let's go to the very beginning because you said several things that may be useful for people. So often people go to doctor's office. Maybe it's annual visit. Maybe they had to get some prescription refill and they had for that the blood work done. Or there are some new health challenge that they are experiencing. For example, they didn't sleep for several months and they need to get something to help them with that. It could be really not alarming reason. They come to doctor's office, doctors need to run the blood work. It's irregular, nothing special, blood work, and all of a sudden, a couple days after the visit, they get a phone call from doctor's office saying that, well, your blood work showed you have diabetes, your A1C is this, and we need to schedule a 3 months checkup to repeat this blood work. What time is working better for you?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
someone who never even considered, thought about it, they in total shock. They don't know what to do. They schedule the visit and then it takes for them really long time to process the information they just heard. And a lot of times people feel that this is it. My life is over. I
Yeah.
I am doomed. This is it. And what would you say, in your experience? What would you say to people so they could actually um, get out of this stage? Because everybody goes through that. Everybody experiences it, but somebody takes it uh, and goes with that, and somebody just gets
Hmm.
into the depression stage, and
Hmm.
they are very, very, very sad.
Yeah. And that's what happens. People go, and you may not show that you might be diabetic. You might not even have any excess weight or anything. Go to the doctor, and it's total surprise. You may have fatty liver. You may have something. Insulin resistance is going to show up and manifest itself in different ways. And that just pops up a lot of times, like you said, at the doctor's office. Big surprise, and it's hard to know what to say to them, because it is a shock, and you can't really just smooth walk somebody out from down the street after they're being told that. So the good news is that it's so many factors are so controllable, and it's so diet related. Your body's just telling you you're having a hard time with carbs, you're having a hard time with excess glucose, and your insulin's not handling it. It needs to be resensitized. It's just not being able to deal with the glucose level. And so once people understand, I think, the dynamics of how the whole thing works, there are ways to make things much, much better and to sort of walk yourself back down the street where things were good before and doing things a little bit differently, moderating your diet, changing things here and there, maybe stepping up your exercise, just making some lifestyle modifications. To me, that's the approach I always take. It's not so much about supplements or medications with me, although those can be needed, and sometimes they're very beneficial. But I much prefer lifestyle moderation and choices to short circuit the problem, to get back to where you need to have healthy mitochondrial function and get things working as they should again. So that's my
Absolutely.
approach.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this is something that our Facebook group, Diabetes 101 for Beginners, that's what we're trying to do there. For one thing, to let people know that this is not the end. This
Exactly.
may be a beginning of a new you, new life where you actually capable of doing a lot of activities and enjoying it. Because I know a lot of people, any kind of physical activity, for them it's a torture. But I've seen so many people who are now very active, athletic, and they say, this diabetes forced me to go to gym, and now I am fascinated with the weightlifting. I am marathon runner. I am a biker. I am a cross country skier, something that they would never consider before because they were not introduced to this. But then
Hmm.
they tried it and they felt that they are improving on it and they feel better, and their diabetes is getting under control. And sometimes you're right, sometimes you need to take some maybe medication or supplement or some help to get a help, but this is a medication in so many cases just to start with, to and then you can leave it like the band-aid, right? You have a scar, or well, not the scar, the wound, you put the band-aid on it so it will not get infected, but then eventually you take it off because it's getting
Exactly.
better. But it will have the you will have the scar just as like this diabetes. You could have it under control, but the scar is here. So you need to remember about this and need to continue doing so good that brought you to this loss of medication and constant control because you know already better.
Yeah, and I think what you said there too, and getting people active, a lot of times takes a little bit care of itself when you start making food choices that are slightly better. You start getting more nutrition in your diet, and less some of the junky stuff goes out, more nutrition comes in. Pretty soon you find yourself with more energy than you had before. Your metabolic rate can increase, and then you find yourself, it's just easier to do the exercises. And then it's kind of perpetual motion. It just keeps going, and you just keep eating more nutrient dense foods, getting rid of the junk. Each day gets a little easier, and you find yourself, it's just easier to go out and do the exercises then too. And that's to me how you walk yourself out of some of these issues, and that's really what it's about, is just taking small steps and making progress each day. You know, it's not going to be magic, nothing quick overnight type of deal. So you just have to, it's taken a period of time to get to a certain level, and you have to give it some time to get out of it. But I think nutrition and exercise are just, they work hand in hand, and they're so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you see, this affects everything. Our bodies are such a unique mechanism that is all interrelated, and one function will affect other functionings, and one dysfunction will affect the rest of the body as well. So when we as you said, when we feed our bodies with the proper nutrients, we are able to move more. When these parts are working, we are actually more calm. When we all these three are working, we have a better sleep. When we have a better sleep, we have more energy in the morning, and we are more inclining to eat healthier food than grab something whatever. So this is all so related, and it's we're also just general in general nicer people to be around. So there goes our social life.
Yeah. I agree completely. And, you know, it's the stress hormones that really drive a lot of the bad eating, I think, the cortisol, adrenaline. And it's just as those levels get higher, you know, lack of sleep and kind of junky foods, and it just drives more of that same pattern. And those junky foods, you know, the over processed foods you hear in the news these days, so much of the over processed, they're just so easy to eat and hard to put down, and everybody has that problem. Nobody's really immune to that, and they're designed to be that way. But we need to wean ourselves off of those, because that's what really drives this poor mitochondrial function and cellular health. And we need to, you know, in my opinion, just get those out of the life and get some nutrient dense foods, if we can make that replacement, things become so much easier in all these other aspects. Because I think it really all starts with nutrition. And if if you put junky fuel in your fancy car, it's just not going to go very well.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you gotta fuel yourself right because you have a fancy car. God gave us this perfect system, and we can't abuse it by putting junky items in. I think this is not the thing to do, and that's
Totally.
where I think it starts.
Totally, totally. Well, here you just brought up something that I also like to say lately. It's become my kind of refrain that I constantly coming to that we have a lot of advancements in medical field. There are different medications and different systems and different tools we can use and diets we could recommend and exercises that we could also implement. All this we have available. We it's not that it's some secret knowledge. It's out there. You go to Google, you go to YouTube, chat GPT. It's all available to us. The key is that somebody has to do it now. So
Mhm.
I learned it all. Now I have to use it because just knowing about it will not take you anywhere. And I know a few people who they could teach classes on how to be healthy, and they at the same time are still struggling with making this happen for themselves. So what I'm talking about, we got to become participants, not just the patients. We got to create a team with doctors, with healthcare professionals, with whoever is on your team, but to be the athletes, to be those Olympic champions, the people who go and break the records and fill the buckets and do all that stuff. So that's my latest topic.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, and it's like we're all used to things getting more comfortable in the modern life, and sometimes I think the comfort level does us more harm than good. I mean, it's nice to be comfortable. Who doesn't like, comfort?
Yes,
But sometimes, it's beneficial to take the hard way, at least in little steps, in that little bit of resistance, making things a little bit harder on yourself has a rebounding effect and makes yourself stronger in that aspect later. I mean, take the steps versus the escalator, at the mall or wherever, and pretty soon you find yourself having stronger legs, and just things like that, parking a little further away instead of opting for the close spot. When you go shopping, you get a little few more steps in each day. And those little steps, those little maneuvers, if you just kind of do it without thinking, I think is important instead of saying, oh no, I have to go exercise. Oh, this is going to be hard. That's a sure way to talk yourself out of doing some of these things. I think it's important just to build some of these little micro exercises into our lives.
absolutely.
Sometimes you do have to force yourself out the door to do some bigger
Yes.
exercises on occasion. I do the same thing, and you just go do it and kind of suck it up and do it. Sometimes it's not always easy, but it's good for us. And but at the same time, we need our sleep, we need our hydration. It's not all about exercise by any means either. We can over exercise and have physiological stress in our bodies. So it's a balance of all those systems, but I think it starts with nutrition and then just opening the door to allowing yourself to get better and taking action, like you said. All these doctors and ChatGPT and all these resources don't do us any good if we don't act upon them. So we need to, you know, soak that in, but also utilize that info, just like you said. And it takes some effort, and we have to get to that point, each of us do as individuals. But if we don't really gain any traction with anything either. So to me, you're exactly right. So
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing with me. I like to have people on my side that our chorus will be louder because I think the challenge that everybody is experiencing in many cases is the result of a lack of information. Even doctors that are going for the medical degree, they have very few hours. They spend a lot of time studying the how the body build and what bones is connected to which and what the nerve systems goes and muscles how they are working. This is all very important information, but they spend the programs are built in the traditional medical school is built in such a way that they have like 6 hours related to nutrition. And if somebody is studying to become a heart surgeon, this is kind of like something that dust on the way they like move away. I don't need to know that. I need to know how precisely to do the cut, how to fix the problem, how to make person heart functioning the way how it's supposed to. So they focusing on it, and then they later find themselves with the poor health because they didn't learn that for themselves, and they really don't emphasize it working with patients. They focus on the surgery, and this is I've heard from the surgeon, from the
Mhm.
heart surgeon. He has a book about it, so it's something that I hear so often, and that's why we need to take it into our hands and learn and implement, since the doctors, this is where their weak spot, this is their Achilles how do you call it? The Achilles tandem, the one that they cannot uh, protect us from. This is where
Right,
we come to
right.
power.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think today's modern medicine is excellent at, fixing particularly like acute issues that come up. You broke your arm or whatever it is, and they can fix that no problem, and they do miracle work. But it's often so siloed, like you said, it's real specific. The nose doctor, the ear, nose, and throat doctor, the foot doctor, the ankle doctor, the heart doctor, and they're really good at those specifics, but sometimes I don't think they connect everything together as a overall function of the whole body operating as one, which it's all connected, and they know that too, but they don't have time necessarily to learn the particularities of all these other connections. They send it to the other guy, their fellow doctor down the road to fix this or that, and sometimes you're lost just covering these isolated things and not really connecting all the dots.
Yes.
You said, I think so little nutrition is taught in modern medicine, even today. You can ask a lot of doctors and they don't get much more than a day's worth of, or a few hours a semester of nutrition. And there's some bias, sometimes industry bias in that too, with some of the big corporations and the way it's funded. So there's a lot of debate around that. So it's a complex beast. We kind of live in the healthcare system, and we have to take matters in our own hands, listen to our doctors, but also each individual person's case has got nuance to it, and you have to kind of do your own research and coupled with your doctor's information, listen to your body, and kind of go that direction, because no one particular doctor is probably going to have the exact answer for you in all cases, because they have limited time with each patient, like you said, 15-20 minutes with each patient, and you're kind of out the door. So
If they're lucky, 15,
yeah,
20
that's
minutes,
yeah,
7 minutes, 7
yeah,
to
you're
12.
right. You're right. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, Rich, I have a question for you. We are coming close to the end of this conversation, so I wanted you to talk a little bit about the tool that you came up with and that may help people to manage their, condition.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I came up with a platform. I call it the Insulin Impact Pro, is what it's called, and you can get to it off my website, Prime 50 Health. It links to that. And what you do, you can put your food into the system, just type your food in or use the audio and then put your food, and it will tell you the impact that food's having on your body in terms of insulin impact, fat storage, likelihood, blood sugars. It's going to give you a complete breakdown and give you a red light, green light, yellow light analysis of any food you put in there, as well as an analysis, a detailed analysis of the food, and you can put meals in there. I have restaurants from around the United States, around the world in there. You can plug your restaurant items in there, and you can use it to build a meal. Like if you come in at the end of the day and not quite sure what to eat, how it's going to affect you, you can just open up your refrigerator, find the ingredients you have, plug those in, and hit go. It's called Green Light Meal Creator, and it will give you green light meals that are have a low insulin impact that are perfect for what you need to be eating as a person with diabetes or diabetes, pre-diabetes, or anybody interested in maintain their insulin control. And that goes for weight loss too. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
really managing your insulin, that's what weight loss is. Like if you have perpetually high insulin, you're going to have an extremely difficult time with weight loss because insulin is a storage hormone that causes fat to be stored, and you want to
Hmm.
keep that insulin level down so that you're actually burning fat off your body and not storing it. So that was the whole point of that, just to use as a weight control platform for people. And it just fits so well with diabetes and diabetes management. But people can go to that and get some free uses with that and play around with it, see what they think, and it's quite powerful. It's pretty powerful. So I'm happy it came together, and I'm happy the way it came together. So that's kind of the story on that. But it's called the Insulin Impact Pro.
And it's on your, people can get that for download from your website, the Prime
Yeah.
50 Health.
Yes, they can go to prime50health.com and it's linked from there to the app. It's kind of a platform dash browser app, so it's not really a download. So you can go to it and use it right there at that browser area in your computer, and you can use it on your cell phone. You can use it on your laptop, iPad, whatever. It'll
Hmm.
form to your device. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, this is a great information to have for those who is listening to us, and uh, what I wanted to everybody to know that this podcast that we have here, it will go in our live to our Facebook group, Diabetes 101 for Beginners, but it also is being the recording is being published on my YouTube channel, it's called Smart Move 360. So anyone who cannot remember where did they see it, please refer people who you think may use this information to the Smart Move 360, and they could retrieve that from there. And everybody, please like and subscribe that, because the more likes we have there, the more people will have a chance to see it. And I have so many different episodes related to different aspects of life with diabetes, from cooking to exercises to sleeping to hypnosis, of course the nutrition, of course the general doctor's advices, different experts, 3 years in on air. So please go there and educate yourself as much as you can. We usually have pretty nice 30 minutes conversations, so it should not be too much pressure, and we should have, I hope that it will help you to feel better about your life with this diagnosis, that you can do it. This is the whole thing that I hope to create inspiration, that I can do it. I believe I can do it, and I'm sure you can do it.
Yeah, I'm sure too. And people can do it. Yep.
Absolutely. So before we say bye, I just wanted to remind everybody about a couple of the things that we have in our Facebook group. On every other Wednesday, we have our support group meetings. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's happening in Zoom outside of Facebook. On Thursday, of course, we have our Diabetically Speaking with Smart Move 360 podcast. It goes live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And every last Thursday of the month, we have an episode with the diabetic warrior, with somebody who lives with that diagnosis, and they're sharing their experiences. So you can learn from their mistakes or their aha moments and try it out and see how this may work for you. Also, every last Saturday of the month, we have our Diabetes 101 for caregivers. It's 2 hours crash course where Kim Kyle, registered dietitian, and myself, we talk about different aspects in more details about the diabetes. Unfortunately, caregivers are the ones who are staying at home and don't get the chance to communicate with doctors and hear what the doctors say. And people who go to see the doctor not always remember everything that doctor said, or sometimes they choose to not share it. So as a caregiver, as people who are loving and caring for them, we need to know where and how we could be more effective in this care. What else? I wanted to remind you about our YouTube channel, Smart Move 360. Here's our Diabetically Speaking with Smart Move 360 podcast. We have there 3 seasons of the of videos, 110 videos. Just on this screenshot, it's more there now. And the last thing I wanted to let everybody know that now we have our app. It's available for download from Apple Store and Google Play. So it's called Diabetes 101, not extremely original, but easy to remember. So please go there, see what is there. Not much yet because we just got published, but we are working on filling it up with more information, more tools, more resources for you. So keep your eyes on our improvement. Come to visit and see what new is there, what you can use that may help you to manage your diagnosis. And with that, I will be closing this podcast. Reach one more time. Thank you for, I'm reappearing. Thank you for joining me today, finding time to speak about your tool that you have and in about health in general, because these conversations need to be out there. People have to hear this so they know that they're not alone. It's manageable, it's doable. There are tools out there are people out there who are willing to help and are willing to provide information and support. So this is all I want people know.
Yeah, excellent. And I really appreciate the invitation. And I am in the process of, not yet, but I'm going to be starting a Facebook group of users of the platform. We get some users going. I just kind of got this platform finalized, so it hasn't really been out in the world yet, so to speak. So I'm going to get some a Facebook group around that, and yeah, that's
We'll make things happen. So
yeah,
we
yeah,
need to get you on my Diabetes 101 app, and from there we could work how that could be managed. So yeah, keep your eyes open, everyone. Please download the app and see what is happening. Things are coming up in masses.
yeah, yeah. I'm in. If anybody wants to reach out to me through Facebook or my email, Rich at prime50health.com, they can do so, and I'd love to help them, and however I can. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your week. Rich, thank you again for your time, and we will see you next week.
thank you.